Welcome back to another adventure with Getting Lost. We are now back in Coney Island for part 2 of our adventure here on this mysterious remote island far off, just slightly off Pongo. So join me as we explore the rest of Coney Island. Welcome back, and last week in part 1 of our Coney Island adventure, we were here at the west entrance of Coney Island, and as we walked through here, we met some of our relatives, which is the macaw monkeys, and we passed by beach area A. Now we are at beach area B, which is also another area where there's a beach where we can actually visit. All the areas are slightly similar. Now just a little short walk to the beach with sand. But the scenery itself is slightly different. In front of us now is Pulau Ubin, and this is the sand. There's actually a lot of birds at the sand area here. And we're actually just at the edge of the beach itself, just right next to the water, the sea water. And like I said, this area here is still has lots of traffic, lots of boats go past this area, and because of that, this area here is not that particularly clean. But look at that, a wild boar. That's me. Yep, just to chase you off there. Look at that, a wild boar. It's very, very hard to catch them on camera. It's gone now. Anyway, this is one of the rest areas, and supposedly there's a rumor that the Hapa mansion is somewhere around this area here, and I did try to look for it. Every single path that head into the forest, I tried to go and walk along it, and here is just one of them, and let's see whether we can find the mansion. Look at this, it's just a little pathway heading to nowhere. Shall I go to nowhere? Yes, let's go to nowhere. Okay, so we'll just keep walking, and let's see where the pathway leads us to. The pathway disappeared into the underbrush, which, okay, for me to go through there, I would need to have lots of equipment, and unfortunately, this is a Singapore government park, so I cannot go in there and just cut the undergrowth willy-nilly, easily, without any problems. So I did try a few other paths. I also walked through, I just didn't film it. Some of them led me to a swampy area. Some places, like earlier you saw there, just led me nowhere, led me to a wall of shrub or trees that I couldn't pass. So unfortunately, I couldn't find the mansion. It is somewhere in there, but not somewhere that is easily reached nowadays, because the pathway there has been hidden by national parks and parks, so they actually hid the entrance, or not the entrance, but the pathway to the mansion itself, because the mansion is deteriorating. No one is looking after it. It is no longer safe for people to go underneath it, so they have fenced it off. Now they have also hidden it from public, so unless you know where the place is, I have no idea which direction to head. Next up, there's actually a boardwalk which they actually built, and as you can see, they actually use the wood itself from the trees to make this boardwalk. And this boardwalk itself is actually created so that we can actually explore the mangrove forest that used to cover all the coastal areas of Singapore, but unfortunately all these places have been, or mostly has been reclaimed, has been cut down, has been paved over, has been made into lots of things. And so these few mangrove forests that still survives, small pockets here and there, are very precious now for us. And as we are walking here, we are actually reaching an estuary where they actually built this place so that the water can come in and out during high tide. And surprisingly, there are supposedly crabs here, which unfortunately I couldn't capture on camera because they are quite small and they hide under the rocks. But what I did capture was shellfish, some kind of sea snails like that. Look at that. Yeah, some kind of shellfish that is abundant here, but they're everywhere. This looks like a fresher one. Those ones a bit too dry. I suspect those may be empty, are dead. But the one that's in the water there could be alive. This is part of the mangrove swamp, the river. Doesn't smell very nice, but it's a very important river that feeds the mangrove swamp. Now during low tide, there's not much water, but there's lots and lots of rocks. And right in front of us, you can actually see that they actually made a wooden fencing here. This is to help to control. I have no idea what it's for, honestly. But I would assume that it's used to control maybe fishes, or some things from getting into, like maybe crocodiles or turtles or predatory animals to come in and eat all the crabs, all the I don't know. I suspect it's because of that. Maybe the big fishes and to eat all the shellfish and crabs, everything. So that's what I assume it is for. Anyway, we're still walking in the Casuarina forest. Look at that. All these pine trees. Except for the weather, which is hot and humid, it could be mistaken. You could be imagining walking in Japan, with all the pine trees somewhere. And now we are actually at beach area C, which is another beach area. Anyway, we are back at the beach here. Look at that. This beach is slightly different because there's lots of seaweed on the beach itself. Not edible seaweed. We can't really eat seaweed. Or can we? Well, I'm not going to try. But there's lots of them here. Maybe we could use them to make a hat. But look at that. There's actually a container ship there crossing here. So like I said, the waters here are not that pristine because of the high traffic area. This area here, people get ships going through this area, so this area is not that clean. Yes, there's a lot of beach area. Well, it is an island after all, What else are there in the island? Island itself is all surrounded by beaches, and in the middle there, forests. Yeah, just now the way we were with all the seaweed, that was a beach area C. And now we're actually walking some more in the forest. Yes. Oh yeah, there used to be also a cow. Yes. Yeah, there used to be a cow in Coney Island itself, but the cow has passed away. So the only big things you see now that are cow size is me. Yes. Anyway, we have now reached to beach area D. Like I told you, this place is full of beaches. And like I told you in Epic Part 1, not to visit the beach because sandflies. You are, at this time, I have been bitten so many times by sandflies. Of course, I wouldn't have noticed this until later in the day, at night, but the itchiness almost drove me to insanity. But the view in front of us is Pulau Ubin, and also on the island in front, directly in front of us in Pulau Ubin would be the Outward Bound School. You can actually see some of the buildings from here itself, and we're actually reaching. Look at that. As far as the eye can see, the beach. Okay, so one of the reasons why I visited all the beach area is that each of the beach itself, even though it is on the same island, it is slightly different from each other. And supposedly there's also like sea creatures living in the sea itself that you can see during low tide, but at the moment I didn't see any of them. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me for part 2 of our Coney Island adventure. There's only one more part as we finish crossing the island and reach the east entrance and beyond. So join me for that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. And you know what to do. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you have not done so, you don't have to, but I will appreciate it if you do. And the most important thing, the thing that you must do to join me for my next adventure. Bye bye.